Have you ever stopped to think why some people seem to live multiple lives inside one body while others feel stuck repeating the same year over and over again, waking up with the same thoughts, the same habits, the same results, and the same excuses, even though everyone technically has access to the same 24 hours, the same internet, the same information, and the same tools? Why does one version of you imagine success, confidence, clarity, and freedom, while another version stays trapped in hesitation, fear, procrastination, and doubt? What if I told you that both versions already exist right now, and the only thing separating them is not luck, not talent, not intelligence, but access to a different internal frequency, access to a different pattern of decisions, access to a parallel version of yourself that is already ahead of you? This idea might sound abstract at first, but stay with me, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Every decision you make creates a fork in reality. One path leads to the version of you who took action. The other leads to the version of you who waited. Multiply this by thousands of small decisions every day, and suddenly you are no longer one person, but a network of potential selves, each one living out a different outcome. Science calls this probability. Psychology calls it identity. Ancient philosophies called it destiny. But today, we are going to call it what it really is: a system. And systems can be accessed, hacked, and redirected. Think about this for a second. Somewhere in a parallel timeline, there is a version of you who woke up earlier, who stopped scrolling, who said no to distractions, who committed to a vision when it was still uncomfortable. That version of you has different skills, different confidence, different standards, and a completely different self-image. And here is the part that changes everything. That version of you is not separate from you. It is not fictional. It is not a fantasy. It is a real potential encoded inside your nervous system right now. The question is not whether this version exists. The question is how to access it. Most people think change happens from the outside in. New job, new relationship, new city, new routine. But that is backwards. Real change happens from the inside out, through identity shifts. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. This is why motivation fades, habits collapse, and resolutions fail. You are trying to force a future identity with a past self, and the nervous system resists that mismatch. To access a parallel version of yourself, you must first understand how identity actually works. Your identity is not who you are. It is who you practice being. Every repeated thought strengthens a neural pathway. Every repeated behavior reinforces us over time. This creates a psychological gravity. You start behaving consistently with who you believe you are. This is why someone who identifies as confident speaks differently, moves differently, and makes faster decisions than someone who identifies as insecure, even if they have the same information. The difference is not knowledge. It is embodiment. And embodiment is the gateway to parallel selves. Here is where most people get stuck. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel aligned. But the parallel version of you did not wait. That version acted first and let the nervous system adapt later. Confidence is not a prerequisite. It is a byproduct. Clarity is not something you find. It is something you generate through movement. The parallel version of you understands something critical. Action collapses probability. When you act, you eliminate alternative futures and step into one specific timeline. Look at elite performers, founders, athletes, artists, and leaders. They all talk about the same thing using different language. Flow state, zone, alignment, higher self, peak performance. None of these are mystical. They are neurological states where identity, intention, and behavior are synchronized. In those moments, people access versions of themselves that feel sharper, calmer, more decisive, and more powerful. The key insight is that these states are not random. They can be trained, they can be triggered, and they can be stabilized. The first step to accessing parallel versions of yourself is awareness. You must start observing yourself as a system, not as a personality. Watch how you speak when you are tired. Notice how your posture changes when you doubt yourself. Pay attention to the micro decisions you make under pressure. Every reaction reveals which version of you is currently in control. Awareness creates distance. Distance creates choice. And choice is the doorway between timelines. The second step is deliberate identity borrowing. This is where things get interesting. Your brain does not know the difference between real and vividly imagined experience. This is why visualization works and why fear can trigger real physical responses even when there is no danger. When you study, observe, and mentally rehearse the behaviors of the version of you that already succeeded, you begin to prime your nervous system for that identity. You are not pretending. You are rehearsing access. Ask yourself better questions. How would the version of me who already solved this problem think right now? What decision would the confident version of me make in the next 5 minutes? How would the disciplined version of me structure this day? Questions like these bypass motivation and go straight to identity. They shift the frame. And when the frame shifts, behavior follows. Now let me show you the hidden mechanism most people never talk about. Emotional regulation. The version of you that wins is not more aggressive or more intense. It is more regulated. Stress collapses. Perception. Calm expands it. When your nervous system is overwhelmed, you default to old patterns. When it is regulated, you gain access to higher level thinking. Breathing, posture, movement, and environment are not self-help cliches. They are control panels for identity switching. Think about moments when you surprised yourself, when you handled a situation better than expected, when you spoke clearly under pressure, when you acted with courage even though you were afraid. Those moments were not accidents. They were glimpses, temporary access to a parallel version of you that already exists. The mistake is thinking those moments are rare. They are not. They are just untrained. Another critical factor is environment design. Parallel versions of you are context dependent. You are not the same person in every room, with every group, or under every level of pressure. Change the environment, and you change which identity gets activated. This is why high performers obsess over routines, spaces, inputs, and boundaries. They are not disciplined by force. They are disciplined by design. Let's talk about time, because this is where urgency comes in. Every day you delay is not neutral. It is a vote for a specific version of yourself. Inaction is still a decision. Comfort is still a choice. And choice is compound. 5 years from now, you will not magically become someone new. You will become a clearer version of who you have been practicing. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up. There is a reason this concept resonates across psychology, neuroscience, philosophy, and even modern physics. The idea of parallel realities exists because reality is not static. It is responsive. The moment you change how you interpret yourself, the system updates. Opportunities appear. People respond differently. You notice patterns you were blind to before. It feels like reality shifted, but what really shifted was you. Most people never access their parallel selves because they try to change everything at once. That never works. Identity shifts happen through small, consistent signals. One hard conversation, one disciplined morning, one uncomfortable action repeated enough times. Each repetition weakens the old identity and strengthens the new one. This is how parallel versions merge into your current timeline. Here is the uncomfortable truth. You already know what to do. The information is not missing. The courage is. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act while fear is present. The parallel version of you is not fearless. It is just committed to a different standard. A standard that says action first, comfort later. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this. You are not trying to become someone else. You are trying to access someone who already exists. Every moment is an invitation to switch. Every decision is a port. The question is not whether parallel versions of you are real. The question is which one you are feeding today. And if this message hit something deep inside you, if it felt uncomfortably accurate, that is not coincidence. That is recognition. That is the signal that a different version of you is ready to take control. Stay with that feeling, act on it, and start collapsing the timeline toward the future you already know is possible.